Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's in a nightmare in real life with me tonight?
Oh, hey, y'all. It's Kenneth, Sanity. The only reason I'm here is God won't take me.
Oh, my turn. It's Tiffany, Albertin, and yep, that's all I got.
And our Canadian guest.
Oh, hello. Yes. Hello, good evening and good day to everybody. I am here to discuss my deep, deep love for Wes Craven and Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
And what is your name, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Hello. Of course. Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle.
And welcome. Where do people find you at?
You can find me on various postings of the internet. You can find me on Instagram at ChibiUFO. You can find me at Twitter at UFO Canada. Sorry about that. And you can find me on Blue Sky at ChibiUFO.
All right. And who are our guests from Illinois with us tonight?
I'm Trey. Pick a pet for the Rugrat bitch, Johnson.
How am I supposed to follow that? I'm Jess. I'm Trey's wife, and I'm on TikTok. You can find me, FrabJessK. I love TikTok. That's all I have to say.
I make dumb TikToks now that have nothing to do with video games, unfortunately.
Yes, he does.
I love dumb TikTok. I just freaking love TikTok. I'm sorry about it. I'm 42 and I love TikTok. If there's a support group, I'll find it on TikTok.
I will join that support group. Hey, that's a mask we have.
Yeah, I know. I wore it and made a stupid TikTok.
Oh my God, you did!
I did. For those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I wore Harley Quinn. We bought a Harley Quinn box, and it came with a Harley Quinn gift set that had a mask and Volume 1 of the New 52 run, which I want to read, actually. But I wore the mask, made a really dumb TikTok. Oh, look up TikTok and Games My Mom Found. You'll find it.
No, don't do that. His videos are
I'm going to do it.
Yes, they are.
Wow.
But all TikTok is stupid.
Damn, ouch.
100%.
When your
It's
wife,
dumb.
when
That's
your
why I love it.
wife, when your wife says your TikToks are stupid, ouch.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that's it. That's okay. He still loves me.
I'm used to it. So we are here to talk about Wes Craven's New Nightmare, directed by Wes Craven, written by Wes Craven, and came out in 1994.
And starring Wes
Yep.
Craven. You forgot that.
Not really
Technically-
starring in it.
Well, he
Not
did.
Wes
Technically,
Craven.
he
Featuring.
does.
Count.
Yeah,
Featuring.
Yeah, technically he does.
Is that better?
Yeah,
I
there
think
you
I
go.
forgot, Mike, I forgot to say my
Oh yeah, where can people find you at?
yeah, if they haven't, they've heard me before in here. You can find me on, I have a podcast called Nintendo Main. You can search it on the internet. We have a bunch of different stuff. Jess is on there as well. We just talked about
Sometimes.
Mario Wonder like a couple episodes ago.
Yes,
So
which
Nice.
I did listen to, actually.
we have a weekly Nintendo podcast, blah, 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 all that.
And so this time, if I don't forget, Ken, what is the plot of this movie?
All right, cool. Yeah, let's talk about the plot for New Nightmare. So, actress Heather Langenkamp is drawn into a real-life horror movie as Freddy Krueger seemingly emerges from the world of film to menace her family and former Nightmare co-stars. In order to save herself and her son, Heather has to be Nancy one last time to end this new nightmare.
Did you just read that off of the back of the DVD?
No, I wrote it while you guys were doing intros.
Okay, that was really good. Bravo, bravo.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Seriously.
Why do you think I wasn't talking? I was too busy.
Getting ready. We're getting ready.
So this was another Patreon voted movie. This whole year I've been doing movies I haven't seen, and I've never seen this film before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how you did it, how you made it out.
Easy. I
without seeing
don't like horror movies, so I just stayed away from so many.
I don't know why I married you.
Gotta make you laugh.
It's
Sometimes.
actually the first one that I saw out of all the nightmares. when I was 14.
Oh, wow, okay.
I've seen up to when someone got killed with a TV, and that's when it got turned off and never went back. So
Man,
Yeah, okay.
What?
Freddy 5, I think someone gets killed with a TV or something stupid.
That's three. That's three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
five.
No, I got farther. I made it to 5. I know that. And then
Yeah,
I
okay.
stopped in 5.
Yeah.
That's the one where he gets killed with by a
Is
truck.
5 the one with the big snake thing?
That's
The
three.
snake thing is in
The
3.
big puppet arms?
Yeah, that's three.
Oh,
We're all
okay.
remembering three.
Oh, the puppet arms is so good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
3 is the best.
three's a lot of fun.
Three is good,
Yeah.
yeah.
3 is the
I've seen it
best.
For a while. We should do that one next.
We got to
Yeah.
do 2
Fine.
next
Why?
because we got to go in
I
order.
don't like that one.
That's what I said
Great.
2, but I'm also
Two.
very curious now to see it as a non-idiot teenager.
Oh, I see.
I had issues with that movie that I'm pretty sure will not bother me because I'm
I
not
blame
stupid.
your dad for
I do
that.
too. But I won't have issues with it like I did when I was younger. So
I don't think
Uh-huh.
I understood that when I was younger, though.
I did. That was an issue.
I didn't.
That was stupid, as I will keep saying. Because I don't like how I was in certain things. But That's another podcast episode.
You're not that person now.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
totally.
Exactly.
That's right.
There you go.
I had a friend of mine that once, I said this before, when we ended up playing online games together a few years ago, and he was still using some of the slurs we did in high school. I'm like, what?
Oh.
Like, what? Yeah, we didn't play games after that. I was like, I'm done.
Uh-oh.
I was just confused. I'm like, wait, we didn't grow up yet? So,
Ironically, half those nasty words I said turned out decades later I was those things I said. Like
They applied to me.
yeah,
to be true.
all the queer slurs. Well, guess what? I am a very queer person, turns out. Funny how that ends up.
so first, like I always like to start these, I also want to ask what each person like memories are with this movie originally. Ken, what is your history with this movie?
This is another one that I saw a couple years after it hit theaters. I was only 14 when this came out. So, what?
Me too.
He's older too, just like you.
I don't think I was 14.
94.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do the math. You do the
You
math.
were
82.
younger than that. You're younger
No,
than
I
me, Tiff.
wasn't.
You're born in 82. 94 would make you 12.
Oh, okay.
Same as
fine.
me.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Anyway,
Anyway.
I rented this movie because this is going to be absolute sin. I really don't care much for the later franchise entries in Nightmare on Elm Street. Really don't care.
What do you
From
mean by
Like
later?
the ones after this, because
from 4 forward can just
Okay,
That's
sure.
not really anything
fair.
controversial. A lot of people don't like the latter sequels. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't care
3 gets
for the
on
one
my
after.
nerves too.
Jason.
okay, I can get that.
Get on your nerves, all right. We got to fight about that, but after.
But I decided to give this one a shot, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, good.
Glad I did.
Okay. And Kyle, what is your history with this film?
Well, I apologize. I'm going to try my best to keep this in a 2L TLDR, or too long didn't read, or too long didn't listen. But so I grew up. I wasn't the horror nerd who I am today in my adult years, but I did like some horror as a younger person and as a kid. But my first ever branch into genuine horror was the Scream series, and that's directed by Wes Craven. So I got into that series and I grew up with it. And, like I saw the sequels. I saw 4 as I became a young adult in my early 20s. And I decided to branch into more and more horror as I grew up. And I got into the Nightmare series. And I was like, yeah, okay, I actually kind of like this. This is pretty decent. I like the ideas. It takes the idea of a slasher and really does some really cool, trippy, just weird, like dream logic, all that stuff with dreams. I like all that. And I think I really enjoy the films of Wes Craven. So I watched the sequels. I dove in and I liked various parts of the franchise. There's movies I like more than others in the series, but I think that I'll save that either for later in this podcast or for another episode. But anyways, so I finally made it to New Nightmare, and I was about 20. I think not 19. I was about 22, I think, when I saw this, or 21, and I was actually really impressed with this. Not only was it interesting to see Wes Craven back in the helm again for a New Nightmare movie, as someone who's I'd call myself a pretty big mega fan of Scream, this movie is such an extreme precursor to Scream. Like, this has so much of Scream's DNA written in it, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's what Wes Craven was thinking about in the early to mid 90s before 1996. Like that's what he was thinking about doing with his film career. Even before he got hired to do Scream, like, you could see this in his lifeblood, like what he was planning to do. And I was so fascinated, and I just really ended up falling in love with this movie. I really love it.
Yeah, I would say that that definitely has the DNA of Scream in this movie, for sure. Like, it's a precursor to it, like you're saying. I agree.
Trey, what is your history with this film?
Well, me and Robert Englund, we're best friends. We did
Nice.
did a movie together way back in 2009. And
Hey, you're on the
no,
credits of IMDb.
I got to meet Robert Englund back in 2009. He was very cool, actually. We did a movie
that's awesome.
called The Mole Man of Belmont Avenue. It's like a low budget horror comedy thing. It was actually made by they're called the Zombie Army. They build haunted houses in the Chicago area for a living, so they built like most of the sets on their own, which is pretty cool. And he was like one of the tenants in this apartment building.
He basically had a cameo.
Where this no, I mean he was in it for a good amount.
Okay.
Of it. Like he was like somewhat like he was one of the main tenants. Like
Sure.
the idea is that these two kids inherit this apartment building from their parents, and they're total they're total assholes, and they don't like pay the gas bill, and the furnace goes off, and this mole man thing like crawls into the apartment complex and starts killing people's pets.
Oh
and
shit!
whatnot.
Watch this.
So
Yeah,
that's basically
same
what happens. And they buy like more pets so people don't get killed or whatever.
That's
It's like
actually
a
really good.
it's like a
Oh.
comedy thing. You can find it on Freebie. It's on there.
Okay.
But Robert Englund
Watch
is like
this.
this older kind of creepy sex guy that like
Oh.
that brings ladies home every night or whatever. But he was really into the script. They sent it to him. Like he paid for his airplane and his hotel and all that, which is pretty cool because we
Nice.
didn't have a lot of budget. And the fun fact is they were actually filming the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street at the same time in Chicago, and he was not in that movie, but he was in our movie. So I thought that was
Good. And I'm sure I haven't seen your movie. I'm not saying this out of any biases, but I'm sure your movie was 20 times better than that piece of shit.
I agree.
It's definitely
I
better
agree.
than the remake. Oh yeah, that remake was awful. And what sucks is if you try to get Nightmare on Elm Street anything for any video game now, it's all that fucking guy and not
Ugh.
right.
Oh,
Sad. Like
Yeah.
Freddy was in like Nightmare and Dead by Daylight, and it's Jackie Earle Haley, and I'm like,
I don't mind Jackie. Here's the thing, though. As much as I hate the remake, I don't mind Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy, but everything else about that movie is so fucking bland, and it's such a disappointment.
if you're gonna put Freddy in something, put Robert in there.
Yeah, come
But-
on.
Truth.
Aside from Mole Man, I was a huge fan of Freddy. Like Freddy was like just like they say in the movie. Freddy's like fucking Santa Claus. Like everybody
Yeah.
knows who he is. When you're a kid. And I would always go to the horror movie section at our rental store at Village Video, and I would just go and look at the covers and the backs of the VHS tapes. And I had to memorize like all the Nightmare on Elm Street ones. I was completely terrified of it, and I didn't watch them, but I looked at. And I went as Freddy. I went as Freddy for Halloween when I was a kid. I had Freddy pajamas because I thought if I was a fan, then he wouldn't kill me. Was the idea. So because I was
Cute.
because I was totally terrified of him, and I had not really seen much of the movies. I think the only thing I saw was Freddy's Nightmares, the TV show. If you remember
Oh yeah,
that, like,
the late
some of that.
80s show. Yeah.
which some of them are good. I think there's one that actually is like a fake like origin story of Wes Craven or whatever. Like I think I have that.
Oh right.
But yeah, no, it was all right. Robert Englund was the host of it or whatever. But
Yeah.
no, this came out, as you said, in '94, and my friend Brian wanted to rent it, and we rented it, and I watched it. That was the first. I think this is the first Nightmare movie I watched like all the way through
Nice.
when I was 14, and I really liked it. And then I don't know if it was that year or the year after. Actually, I think it was a couple years later because I could drive. But we did like a whatever, like 12-hour horror movie marathon thing or something like that for Halloween, like me and my friends. And the last movie we watched was Nightmare on Elm Street 1. And yeah, I was like, oh, I'd recognize a lot of things from New Nightmare in this movie, like they're very similar. But no, Nightmare on Elm Street's probably like my favorite horror movie franchise of all time. Like I had the VHS box set. Just got me the DVDs, which are actually the DVDs from the box set, which is cool. So I watched the commentary of this last night as well, which is pretty awesome to hear Wes Craven again. Since he's been dead for a while, and I had never heard that. It was nice to hear him talk about the movie and all that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Okay. And Jess, what is your history?
So I loved horror movies, but also I was really afraid of horror movies. So, I watched the first one of these on my 13th birthday. My parents rented it for my birthday party. And then I didn't watch another Freddy movie for a long ass time. Watched other horror movies, loved other horror movies, but I don't know, I just never got back around to it until Trey and I were dating, and we went on like a deep ass dive and we watched every fucking one of them.
It was probably my idea because I really liked
It was
a lot.
definitely your idea. Yes, it was. But I'm glad. But I'm glad it was your idea because I love practical effects. That's my
yeah.
favorite part about horror movies.
There's a lot of good.
And there's
good
so
special effects. in it,
yeah.
for sure.
There's
Oh, yeah.
Freddy has always had great special effects and great puppetry and great props and things like that. And this movie is basically about a prop that comes to life. So
Oh yeah.
I mean,
More or less.
at its core,
Yeah.
that's what's happening. So yeah, I was an adultish person. Trey and I have been together for 10 years. So sometime in the last 10 years, I watched this and I like this one.
I remember when I was like 18, like when I just gone to college, I would just like go and rent all these movies and just watch them like over the weekend, just back to back to back. And it was like, if you remember Columbia House, this was like my final purchase was the VHS box set of of Nightmare on Elm Street because it was on sale, and that was how I could close my account with them, so they would stop sending me shit. But
Nice.
yeah, but I've had it for a long time, and it's and the box set, even on the VHSs, it had all the extra stuff at the end, and like my roommates and I would watch it. We watch all the extra shit with Wes Craven talking about like how Freddy was like based on a bully, that person that bullied him in school and all that stuff, and they're fun. They're a lot of fun. And Robert Englund's very cool, by the way. When I worked with him, he was very nice, and it's always cool to meet somebody that you really like and they don't suck. You know, and I was
That's always nice.
I was trying my hardest not to like be all fanboy with him. You know, I didn't want to be like, hey, I had Freddy pajamas. You know, what's up? But some of a lot of like the production assistants that were on there were younger, and they were all totally like fanboy to him and all that. And there was this one day, like the last day he was on set, everybody wanted to have a picture taken with him, you know, obviously. So we all kind of got in line so we could all do like, you know, I had a flip phone, whatever. We were all trying to phone pictures with Robert Englund. And there was this one person that was trying to take a picture, and for some reason the phone wasn't working. And then all of a sudden he just jumped straight into Freddy. He's like, take the goddamn picture, bitch. You know, and it was like amazing. And everybody was like, oh, and we all like, that was cool. Because he didn't really do it, and then he just like jumped right into it, and everybody's like, oh.
I don't want to speak for like every person of like every actor, every person in like the horror genre, but it's kind of weird how like some of the nicest people in that like the horror like convention scene and stuff like that, like this, it's funny to me how some of the nice people are like people who have played like terrifying like serial killers. I don't know, I just think that's amazing. Like,
This is truth. No, this is true.
And Tiffany, what is your history with this movie?
Similar to Ken's, I probably watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 5. The only reason it didn't scare me was because my dad would have me watch like behind the scenes of how they did the props, how they did the makeup. So to me, Freddy wasn't a scary guy. He was the actor, Robert Englund, in makeup. But I didn't like it probably past 4 because he got campy and goofy, and I guess I didn't like that. He did.
No, I know. I've seen a couple.
He did.
And so I didn't like that. But then when this one came out, I was like, okay, fine. I will try it. It looks good. Like the previews, it looked good. And so I tried it. I probably went to see it with my dad, to be honest with you. And so, yeah, I really liked it, though. This is my favorite, I would say, out of the series.
Okay,
Franchise.
I can see that because as I've said on this podcast many times, I don't really care for horror movies, but I really enjoyed this movie because it's not that scary and not that much killing. So it was just, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Like the body count on this is pretty low.
Pretty low.
I think only like 3 die.
Yeah.
Earthquake is more damage.
I guess like 4
than
people die. Like there's the 2 people that die off screen at the beginning. Well, I guess they die. They say
not only is it such a low body count, but all the deaths actually really mean something too. Like it feels really impactful to the story. Like I love that.
I was listening to the commentary, and Wes Craven was saying like the part where the husband like dies in the car and all that. He said that was only added because the producers were like, "There's not enough blood in this movie," so they kind of stuck that in just because there wasn't enough gore. You know, it didn't really have to kill the other movies.
You have the stuff in the beginning where like I was a little confused. You see him making the metal glove, and all of a sudden you see it's a movie set. I mean, yes, I knew what I was getting myself into, but I remember that kind of it threw me off a little bit. I'm like, okay, like I'm like I just they are going for that,
and
like
then it's all a dream.
Yeah, and then you never really know. But I mean, the whole point of that is it puts you off in the entire movie where you never know what's a dream and what's not a dream.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the point, though. Which I appreciate. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did laugh. I laughed when the 2 guys were killed in the beginning because I just thought it was just hilarious the way they died with the glove. Just starts acting up and just starts murdering them. I don't know. I just found it hilarious for some reason.
I was wondering if that glove was like influenced by the Addams Family movies at all, because like they had already been out at the time, and they had the hand walking like with the stump and all that, and that's kind of what happens there too with the mechanical hand like walking.
Also,
it's like we can do that, but make it more scary.
But make it death.
Yeah.
Why make a prop that has actual blades on it?
Well,
yeah, as people who work in the industry, no.
Well,
not a thing. No, absolutely not. Never would happen.
Well, there's, I mean, they always have like different versions. Like, like Batman had like on like Dark Knight, they had like the Bat car that just sat there, and the Bat car that can't turn, and like the other one that can actually drive. They have different like props that do different things. And actually there's the part where Nancy's asleep and the hand comes up and cuts through the sheets. Like that is like incredibly razor sharp
They
those
had to
knives
have
are
it in
there,
order to cut.
and they did actually
Yes.
do it close to her face like that. So there is, there's a possibility of that. out there.
Mm.
Wes Craven said that was a scary ass.
But it wouldn't be the one that he just wore around.
Sure.
No.
Or they just have on set. Yeah. They'd be a little more, I don't know, a little careful about it. Even though, you never know with what happened with.
Yeah, I can say that people have lots of those actual claws and then have Robert Englund sign them. I can say that, unfortunately, for a
He's
fact.
never gonna let this go.
I will not let go. I
Ever.
would wait in line for
Because
3
you've seen
hours and I
it.
watched assholes with the knives go in front of me when I was second in line. I will never forget that.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Wait a line a lot for.
Yes,
Some
I
people
do.
brought like
Apparently,
replicas of the hand.
these were real blades.
Oops.
Yeah, they were.
Security
really-
had to escort the people that had them and escort the
They
blades.
had like little tips on them, so they weren't.
They
So-
let him in still.
Yep.
So weird.
I mean, I don't understand the point. Like, why are you having him sign a freaking weapon? Like, I get it, but still, like, come on now. Doesn't need to be real.
That anybody
Everybody's got a hobby. You know what I mean?
right? Everybody's got a hobby.
But I mean, also, I guess I was really floored too by like just Heather in this movie, and like I only seen her I think in Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, and then the third one. I've never seen her in anything else, and like she was great in this movie.
Yeah, she is.
She's very good. Yeah, I mean, she's the main. She's the main character.
And her real life was actually really close to what was happening in this movie. Like
For
Wes
sure,
Craven
yeah.
just stole a lot of things. Like her husband actually was a special effects person.
Yeah, they have their
And
own
she had a
company.
son
Yeah.
who was around the same age as
Yeah.
her son in this movie.
Yeah.
So Wes Craven was like, let me just take everything that's actually happening and
Yeah, Wes, and in the commentary, Wes was saying that she was kind of afraid about the movie being so close to her actual life.
she did have a stalker too.
Like she was kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh,
she did.
didn't want to put it all out there, so it
Yeah.
was kind of some coaxing, like kind of like it does in the movie too, So
Mm.
they
Some
said it
extra
was
zeros in
yeah,
that paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure it was.
I'll do a lot more things if you put some zeros behind it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah.
I didn't
I'm a-
realize that it was like also like I mean because you can feel that how close it's supposed to be because it's supposed to be real life that Freddy's coming to get her essentially and okay that's cool. I didn't realize that her husband was a special effects artist and stuff like that. I'm like I figured her husband wasn't dead, so I'm like
She has
Yeah.
like an Academy Award for what is it? Nutty Professor.
Oh yeah, he did work on that movie.
Terrible.
That terrible movie.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Their
Fat
company
phobic,
also
terrible.
did,
I was gonna say those movies aged really well.
what were you gonna say, Ken?
their company also did work on Cabin in the Woods,
Oh,
good movie.
nice. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
On the podcast.
and
Yeah.
it's not just her husband, but Heather works on the effects stuff too.
Yeah, she does too. Yeah, she does.
Yes, I say
So-
they have-
too.
they're both part of the company.
Oh,
Like
nice.
they
That's
started the
cool.
company together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
She's a real nice person too.
That kind of reminds me of different series, but it's the same sort of situation that happened in real life. The woman who played the mom in the first Child's Play, what's her actor's name? I'm trying to remember. Catherine
Oh.
something. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. But she went on to marry Kevin Yeager, who did the special
Oh,
effects for the first Child's Play. He was one of the first people to do the Chucky animatronic. What was that?
Sorry,
Whoa.
no, I'm laughing at my own self.
No,
I thought
the-
I thought somebody was. I thought
My
somebody. I thought somebody was like whistling. It's like, what the fuck? Whoa. Anyways,
Asthma,
yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Yeah, no worries. Anyways, yeah, her and Kevin Yeager got married, and they're still together today.
She was in Star Trek 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah.
Yeah.
We looked up them at one point.
At one
Yeah.
point.
I guess it was just like the way they work in the earthquakes in this movie too, like how they always like fit what's happening in different scenes.
Oh yeah, did you did any of you check? I guess there was a big earthquake, like about like 2/3 into the production of the movie.
Yeah, because it
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
that was the movie was filmed in I think 1993, early 94, and yeah, there was a huge earthquake in Los Angeles in like that period of time.
So the
Yeah,
scene of the destruction was real destruction. That wasn't
Yeah.
set.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
the,
she's driving to Wes Craven's house and you see like everything that's destroyed, it's like real.
Yeah,
Yeah, they went
that's
and did a bunch
cool.
of B-roll stuff
Really?
after the
That's cool.
earthquakes actually happened.
Yeah.
And what was it? The crew members blamed it on Wes Craven because he had written it into the script and they had already shot most of the movie. And he's like, "You did this because you made it happen because you wrote
Yeah.
it."
The script and everything came true.
Yeah.
Hey, it fits the whole theme of this movie. Like the whole
Yeah.
idea, like there's parts where she's just reading the script of the movie,
Yeah.
but
But like
she's
the
in
ending,
like
where they have it right there. It's like you don't need to know your lines because they're right in front of you.
You
Yeah,
just said
exactly.
them.
And I guess that concept was really interesting to me. Like throughout this movie while I'm watching it, I was thinking to myself, like, you would see John Saxon, from the first movie, and like just the way that, like he still was kind of like a father figure to her, in real life, which again made sense. I mean, especially work with someone you're younger, like, and I just love how they put all that together. I'm like, this is just extremely cool, and it's also kind of weird too, because at times you got like, you got to remember, like, she's not her character in this; she's herself as a character.
Yeah, and also
she's constantly doing that too. She's constantly telling herself.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of there's like a couple other people. Like, what was it that one person that's in the hospital that you said that was in the Insidious movie? She was also in the first movie.
Lynn Shay.
She was the teacher.
Shay. That's her name.
There was another, and like the other guy that killed, everybody thought killed Tina. Like he's at the funeral. Like there's a couple people that show.
Yeah,
up
the guy who played I can't remember the actor's name, but he played the character Rod in the first movie, and also
yeah. He's at the funeral.
Speaking of the funeral sequence, there's also another previous Nightmare actor in the scene. It's an actor named by her real name is Tuesday Night, and she played I believe Kristen Parker in the fourth movie.
Oh yeah, she's there too, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, she's in the background.
Was Amanda Weiss in this too? She's in the credits, but I don't remember seeing her at the funeral.
I'm not sure.
I know she's in a photo when they show the cast from the original movie at one point.
Yeah.
There's a famous story that Wes was going to ask Johnny Depp to be in that scene, and he was afraid to because he thought he would say no.
Yeah.
And then they met later. He saw, they ran into each other later in LA or something, and Wes was like, "Would you have done it?" And he was like, I would have done it, you asshole. Why didn't you ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine now.
It's probably better that he's not there
now.
Now that we know what he's done.
Yeah.
But he was in Freddy. I mean, he was in Freddy. What was it? He was in Freddy's Dead. So I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll be in this. Like he did the fucking brain on drugs
Especially
thing.
like one scene.
Yeah.
You come, you like walk down the street to the cemetery. You make
just
$20,000 for 20 minutes work. Why not?
He can only come back if he wears that shirt that he got killed in.
Yeah, that crop top. The crop top. Yes.
Which I think Wes Craven still has that because he said that he saved all the clothes in a box in his garage.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They reused some of them at the end there.
Yeah.
Oh, so I got a comment for Ken. So, we've been watching a lot of movies together, and you kind of have made me more of a movie buff in a way. Like when I was watching this movie, I was just thinking to myself, because it's kind of like a fourth wall breaking movie, and I was really like appreciating what they did more than I ever would have. And I occur that to you.
That is, 100% fair. The thing that really bothers me is that Scream always gets the credit for being the meta horror movie, but it will never, on any level, be as meta as this movie is. You're watching the movie of the writing of the movie, but it's playing out like somebody's real life, but it's the movie, but the script is the real life, but it's only being written after it happens through dreams. This movie is so meta, it makes you want to tear off your face.
I like that so much.
I don't know if any of y'all knew this already, but one of the potential titles, I believe, for this movie was called Nightmare on Elm Street Part, I think 7, Ascension.
Yeah.
So think of that. Yeah, think of that title and think of this movie like, wow, that's actually a really good subtitle for this movie. Holy shit.
I like what we got, just because it feels like, the end of a... Because it's end of a story, but also it had a number, then it would have just felt like another one of the movies.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they didn't want to have it like. Yeah, they didn't want it to have a number on it. And also, interestingly, they didn't. There's no title. There's no movie title until the credits because to kind of feel like a documentary.
I didn't catch that. Exactly. I normally pay attention to that. Thank you, Trey. Because I like to pay attention when the titles show up.
Thank Wes Craven. He told me in the commentary.
Yeah, we like a long, like a good long cold open, and then 20 minutes in, you get boom, the name of the movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
This one, you're waiting
credits.
all the way till the end.
Which I think this is the only Nightmare that does that, right? Because I know the other ones do the opening credits.
Clever.
Yeah, I believe so.
It works for this one.
So it's good to break the break
to
the
go
pattern.
back to some of the earthquake stuff that you guys said. I mean, like, I just think it's interesting that they showed real destruction in here. I mean,
why not? Why waste money on sets?
Well, also it is California. It does happen, unfortunately, but that's what you get.
I mean,
I mean, you're going to film her driving. Might as well film her driving next to some destroyed shit.
Well, if you go film it, you can show all this destruction that you couldn't afford to do. Like that's what he's saying in the commentary. He's like, you gotta, it basically makes it look like it has a higher budget, but it's just
right. It's like it rains
stuff.
when you're supposed to have a rain shoot, and you just shoot the rain stuff, and then you don't have to pay for the rain.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like filming like ambulances and cop cars that aren't for you and editing them into the movie. I think Lloyd Kaufman did that for a couple trauma movies.
We're not paying for extras, just shooting a big crowd, taking the chance your celebrity's not going to get hurt.
Like I think in Elf when he's walking down the street. Some of the people are not actors. So
something that I actually also find compelling about this movie and why I appreciate it. Not that I don't like the other versions of the character. When he's a bit like silly or like when he's just a flat out like Looney Tunes character. I actually find this part 1 and part 2 to have like the scariest versions of Freddy. Because like especially with this version of the character in this movie, like I find him terrifying. Like there's a bunch of just really good scare scenes in this. I find him like very compelling as a villain in this because like I wonder like, so is this Freddy Krueger the character, or is this the devil himself playing?
Right.
Yeah, Freddy, or playing a character of Freddy. Like, what is this? And
I mean, you're right. Freddy's always been like an archetype, right?
Yeah.
I have an archetype of like an evil sort of Sandman, right? Terrifying
yeah,
dream.
exactly. Yeah.
God. And in this way, like as you were saying, like this movie was supposed to be called Ascension. That's really what happens to Freddy, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Becomes a true archetype of terror, a true sort of like Satan himself.
Yeah.
In the drawing, in the painting that Robert Englund paints, like that's 100% some Satan shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His body is full of like all the souls.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then at the end in the fire too.
Because
I have mute, you asshole.
Oh my god! Because I have appreciated like I have appreciated like other takes on the character. Because like here's the thing about the Nightmare series and myself. I'm actually a staunch defender of Nightmare Part 6. And, like, I know that's the one that everybody hates, but I actually really love that movie, and I think it's feminist art. Because, you know, directed by a... Yeah, and it's directed by a woman, and a woman who's been working with the series since Part 1, Rachel Talalay. Like, I love that. That's perfect.
I do talk about those dream spirits every once in a while on our Nintendo podcast.
Yeah,
they made an appearance at F-Zero GX and in the last
nice.
level.
I like the idea that this is like a demon in a demon that exists that is using Freddy as to come into the world because of it being a symbol. Like the whole idea of the storytellers are keeping that at bay. I love that part when she meets with Wes Craven and he's telling her this idea he got from his dreams, and I thought that was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
that was
like
perfect.
Freddy is using your dreams to become reality, so Satan is using Freddy to become reality, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
And also, I love that they do a callback scare in New Nightmare from the original, but like I actually find this a lot more effective than the original movie, even though like the original movie is impressive with its practical effects. Like the telephone scare, where in the first movie it's Nancy calling her boyfriend, and the phone, Freddy is the phone is like, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy," and instead of making those kissing noises, and his tongue starts appearing. Where in New Nightmare, like, and this is like fucking horrifying, is like Heather's son is like freaking out and having a tantrum, and then the phone rings, and then it's Freddy's voice, and he's like talking to her, and then like he starts laughing, and then he just like very quickly, right before it gets to like the scary, just goes, "I touched him," and then just like, holy fucking shit! Jesus.
And the tongue part's there too. The tongue.
But instead of the tongue, though, it turns into foam in the speaker. Like, fuck. Oh, like, wow, holy shit.
That was just weird to me, the foam in the speaker.
I thought that was terrifying. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, Wes Craven.
But it is a callback for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's a callback. And a really,
super gross.
A really well done callback. Like, wow, that's actually scarier than the original shit.
But they had a lot of the scenes that were from the other movies that I know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a lot of times when I see callbacks, they kind of piss me off because I feel like, oh God, we're doing the same joke again. But I feel like every time they used it in this, they went further, and also they made it make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Julie's death, right? The babysitter's death.
Yeah.
You know,
That
like
was
from
good.
number one.
up the wall and up the onto the ceiling. Obviously a callback, and but so well used and so gross and awesome and like meaningful, I guess, in a way, because we
Yeah.
actually care about her as a person. It's
Yeah,
not just
exactly.
like do the same thing because everybody expects us to do the same thing. I feel like in
Oh, yeah.
this,
This is
when we
definitely
do the same thing, it's all really meaningful. When Heather's wearing the same pajamas and she's like, "Thanks, Daddy,"
Yeah.
now we're in
Oh,
the
that was so
now
creepy.
we're called back.
And then the
And
house,
she just,
the
like,
house,
thinks
the,
that-
the house
The
changes.
house is there that she walks
Yeah.
into her movie house, but it's her house in real life when she gets inside. Like,
They-
I literally got goosebumps right now just saying that sentence.
Also-
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
so well.
There was one thing. There's one thing that actually I bumped into about the Julie death, though. When I was watching it again last night. She's like the only person that is not asleep when she gets
Yeah.
killed in this.
Yeah,
It's
fucked up
It's
enough.
so weird. Like, but everybody else is asleep. It's just breaking. It's breaking the rules, man. It's.
Like,
I
I
love
took
that.
it.
It's
But
weird to
that's
me.
the point,
Yeah.
right? Like,
yeah,
when we get
also-
yeah,
he
exactly.
doesn't have to be
He's
asleep
too,
anymore.
he's
Like,
too powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Was
Yeah,
manifesting
exactly.
through the kid, and that's his
Yeah,
opening,
exactly.
like a portal to the real world, so he's able to get her. But like the thing that I think is so important about that death is also that's when everyone goes, "Oh shit, she's not crazy,"
Yeah, exactly.
because they can't they
All
can't
people in the
explain like how
hospital,
did
right,
this woman
exactly.
get murdered in a closed room with a little boy, and we watched her on the ceiling
Yeah.
being dragged across. Like
Except
there's
I
no
was a
questioning
little
this.
bit. I was a little super pissed off that it took them a really long time to get over there. Like, there's a lot of screaming, and they're standing. Heather
Oh, the door.
and the
I
lady
thought the door was
doctor
locked or something.
are standing at the other end of the room at the hall.
Like, this was ridiculous.
Let's go. Let's get over there and
Yeah,
see
they're,
what
they're
this
just watching
evil,
it.
You
They're
know
like,
what I mean?
oh, look at her
get
on the
over there
ceiling. Like, look at that. Look at
and
those tricks
see
she
that
can do.
Heather is not insane.
I
Yeah,
guess the original idea was that the babysitter was going to be like controlled by Freddy. Like, so
Oh,
Oh yeah, I
there
read
was
that.
some. I guess there was some. I know Wes Craven was like, when you see her, you don't know like which way she's going. And I was like, I don't know. She seems good through the whole
I'm
thing.
glad.
The
I'm
original
glad he
idea
went.
was-
He didn't go
Yeah.
with that. I prefer this. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer that
Me too.
Tracy was. I believe that's her name. The character's name. That.
Well,
What?
Julie,
Julie?
the
Oh,
Oh, Julie.
babysitter.
Sorry,
Name was
I thought her
Julie.
name was Tracy. My apologies. I'm glad that Julie wasn't like that character and instead was the other way. Like, I prefer this. I think it actually works a lot better because you really feel for the death too. Because like, oh, she was just an innocent character trying to help. Like, fuck, that really sucks.
Yeah.
There was another interesting thing about the hospital scene. The doctor that's like that like almost gets Nancy or Heather, I guess, arrested. She's based on like some worker from the MPAA that Wes Craven hated, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a parallel to that where
Oh yeah,
where she tells Heather that
censor.
where he tells Heather that like what she's doing is wrong. He's like, this is like when they tried to I know the MPAA sucks, and I've heard
Yeah.
people talk very badly about them. That's just kind of funny that he like named her like completely after a specific person from
Yeah.
the ratings board and all that.
I mean that
like
to
they're always
me,
telling me what to do and control my movies or whatever.
the whole thing with the doctor like not believing her rang completely true to me.
Yeah.
Because when my
Well,
my
yeah.
son has
She
autism, when he
sounds
was like
bonkers.
5 years old, we took, or maybe he was younger, maybe he was 4. We had an incident, something happened where he just wouldn't go in the basement where we lived, and he would just not go in the house. He was terrified of something. We didn't know what. I remember we went to different children's hospitals. They just wouldn't do anything. And they were like, and then finally somebody was able to, like, gave him some medication that calmed him down. And then everything after that, he was fine. It was just like this one weird, like, couple days where he just would not go in the house. And I remember that, like, I could get that where they're like, there's something wrong with you. Like, and another example, like my son also had meningitis, and we went to multiple ERs before they finally caught it. And
Oh no.
so it kind of felt, I could kind of like feel like where the doctor's like questioning you instead of like not listening to what you're saying. I'm like, yep, that sounds very accurate sometimes.
Yeah.
But I really like everything with Heather where she starts questioning her own sanity as the movie continues. Like you have, just where she's like, she doesn't understand if maybe she is going crazy or because she can't believe any of this is real. It's like, it's just a movie. And I really like that. And to go back to the doctor, I like how the doctor is judging her. Like, well, did you let anyone watch any, did you watch your movies? Like, I love that.
Yeah.
They do a subtle thing too, costume wise, where we all know eventually Nancy's hair turns gray. She's got that gray streak that happens. But in the movie, Heather's hair slowly, it's very subtle. she ends up with a gray streak at the end of the movie, but
Yes.
it's happening the whole time. She'll have a couple more gray hairs running through her hair, every scene as we progress through the movie, which I think is amazing visual storytelling, because not only is it a mirror for the movie itself, but it's also telling us that like she doesn't fucking know what's going on. She is actually like being stressfully impacted by what's happening and not knowing what's reality.
I just want to say too, I just hope everybody that's here, sorry, I just have to do this callback. I have to say this line, and if you don't know the response line, that's fine, but if you do, you can just go ahead and say it. But I have to do this to everybody. Where's your pass?
Screw your hall pass.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
We did like that. We did like that.
Of course, I had to do it. I love the way Heather responds to that. Where's your pass? Screw your pass. Like, oh shit. Oh, go Heather.
That lady that says that, I think that's her. One of the one that does like the sneaky shot to Dylan.
Oh, that's
Wes Craven's daughter.
Oh,
really?
Wow. Okay.
She was there, but I didn't know which one she was.
So I guess he said she's a teacher now, and I guess they called her like Mrs. I don't know, Mrs. Needle or something like that, because she does the sneak needle in the movie, and yeah. So she might have been. She might have been the one that said, where's your pass? But yeah, no, I knew that was coming. Yeah, where it's like, screw your pass. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Ken, what did you think like watching Nancy kind of go insane throughout this movie?
Well, I mean, it's almost a parallel to Nancy's degradation throughout the first movie, like mental degradation as she goes on. Like, I have expected a hidden coffee pot to come out after hers broke in that earthquake, because that was the one thing that I really enjoyed about that first one, was that coffee pot that she just pulled out of her bedside table.
I do like that.
I was really waiting for that to come back, but sadly, it didn't.
It would have been funny if it had pulling out. Yeah.
Like this movie, because of all the similarities between, like, looking at the surface, it's not similar at all. But delving deeper into it and just watching Nightmare on Elm Street like we have recently, and then watching this right afterwards, you can really see that this movie is the perfect bookend to the first movie. Yeah. And it was a great place to just stop. And I'm glad they did.
Well,
Ish.
They stopped.
Yeah.
They stopped.
Well, aside from
Something else after the count.
Don't forget about the 115 million they made from that Freddy vs. Jason movie.
Yeah, well, aside from Freddy vs. Jason and the remake, they technically did stop. Like,
yeah.
So that's
remake.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Freddy vs. Jason's a crossover, so this is the end.
Yeah, exactly.
On the subject of Freddy turning into like the devil at the end of this movie, I always thought that was going to be the story for Freddy vs. Jason, because at the end of like Jason Goes to Hell, or as I called it, Jason turns into other people. There's his mask is on the ground, and the claw comes up from the ground and brings his mask like down into hell or whatever. It's like, well, Freddy is the devil now because he's in the Devil in New Nightmare. It's all coming together. So the original idea for that script that I heard, I don't know if it was real or not, but this is before I was, as online or whatever, was saying that like, Jason came back to life, and then Freddy comes from hell to get him and bring him back to hell because he's the devil or whatever. So I always thought that was what was going to be the plot for that movie, not what.
That would have been a better plot.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
it would have been some plot.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, there is a comic that kind of says what some of the ideas they were throwing around of Ash versus Jason versus.
Oh, the Ash versus Freddy versus Jason.
I've read the comic, right?
Don't read that comic, but yes.
Yeah, and that became the comic. Yeah, I've read it.
I read it too for this podcast many years ago.
You did?
Yeah.
You can go find an episode about it, like really early. Go search it, and you'll find it.
Bless you.
Of course.
I feel like there's some sort of horrible irony in me saying this because I'm an atheist, but my God bless you for putting yourself through that.
I like downloads. Also, it was not my idea, but I'll read almost anything at this point. I'm watching movies. I mean, this was nothing compared to some of the movies people have suggested, Ken, for me to watch.
People like torturing him.
Nobody was beheaded in this movie, so it was all right. Like, there wasn't random beheadings that just.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Good point.
That I didn't see coming.
Oh,
No one was
I hate
beheaded.
you, Ken. I hate you.
You traumatized her, Ken, with Hereditary.
I hear that a lot. It's fine. You
Well,
think you're the
so
first
no.
person?
Now, what is this traumatic beheading? Oh,
Yeah,
Hereditary.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was what, like,
Yeah,
I was
Hereditary.
Amazing. One of the
Good
best
movie.
movies of
Woo!
all time.
I tapped
One of the
out.
best.
I was done.
Ooh, that movie. But again, that's the thing is why I appreciate this movie more. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of horror movie. It wasn't. This is not a really bloody
It was
film.
an
I
Those
mean,
actual
are the
horror.
movies Mike likes.
Yeah.
The non-bloody.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of scary
or
stuff.
psychological.
It's
Yeah,
pretend. It's pretend horror. Freddy's pretend. You know what I mean?
Wait.
You can definitely distance yourself
No, he's real now.
in that
He
way.
grew out of the story. He can
One
come
thing
after
that
you.
we haven't talked about is it really happens after the father dies or after her husband dies because he's coming home and he gets killed by the claw. And when the way her son, like, just everything that happens to her son after that, I mean, it's very PTSD. And again, it makes sense. He just lost his father. And yeah, and that's when he starts having all the issues.
God wouldn't take me.
You know, his
God,
his dad,
that's such
That
a
was a heartbreak.
especially for a horror
Yeah.
movie where you wonder if they don't really bring up like religious stuff that much. That's such a harrowing line. Just like,
That was very
Wow.
Omen. That whole scene was very The Omen.
oh yeah,
It
The
was
music,
very.
the way
I
he's
really-
standing there, everything.
I saw the scene when he climbs on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the jungle
Playground?
gym. And he starts climbing to the very top. And another thing that I really appreciate with this film is I really love the scene between Nancy and talking to her son Dylan, and like when they're just talking in bed together about like what happens when people die. Like that's a really deep emotional scene for this like slasher horror series. Like I really liked that. You really sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No.
No, I was just sorry. The last thing I was going to say too is that like I really appreciate that like even this many years, this many movies in, someone like Wes Craven remembers that like, oh, people actually do care for the characters in these damn movies. Like people do actually give a shit about them. It's not just, oh, I want to go see a movie where the bad guy kills and murders everybody. Yeah, like no, like I actually want to give a shit about the characters in a movie. Like I want to care, but you have to put the effort into it. And Wes Craven clearly put the effort into it with this.
100%.
For sure. I just wanted to say, I've learned this from the commentaries. It's pretty cool. That park that they were at, it was closing like at the time they were shooting there, and the actual father of Dylan, bought that fucking rocket thing that he climbed on, and like took it home, and they had it in their backyard. Which I'm like, I don't know if that's like a cool thing or not.
He
but
probably never said that thing ever again.
he's like, hey,
Yeah,
you
no
remember
kidding.
you climbed this in that movie and did that crazy scene? Let's own it, so you can look at it every day.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
what?
exactly.
Here's a piece of your trauma.
Yeah.
That kid is
Look
awesome.
at it every day.
That kid's
Yeah.
awesome. I love him in Pet Cemetery. And wasn't he the penis
yeah.
vagina too from
Miko
Up here.
Hughes. That's the actor.
Miko, yeah.
He's
Miko
super
Hughes.
cool. I met him.
Yeah.
He's super cool.
Oh,
Super
that's
short,
awesome.
but super cool.
That's awesome. I'm always happy to hear, especially.
Is he in his 40s?
I mean, no, he would be
don't-
older.
To
Wait,
be
wait.
something.
Wait,
I don't
no,
know.
no, he
Oh
wouldn't.
no, we were 14.
Oh, no,
he wasn't 14.
younger.
Yeah.
He's younger
Yeah,
than
He's
us.
younger
Oh,
than us. Yeah.
By the time,
Just googled
He's
this.
not 14
he was
in the
born in
movie.
80. Shit, I don't know.
I don't know. I wasn't around.
86.
Pay
He
attention.
is younger than me.
86.
yeah, okay.
He's-
So 86. He's not
He's
in his
like
40s
3
yet.
in Pet Cemetery. Like,
Yeah.
oh God.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in his 40s just yet. He'd be in like his mid to late 30s. So
He was really nice though.
yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I've always like I always forget how many things I've actually seen that I've seen that person in. Like I've seen him in like an episode of like Full House and Kindergarten Cop and this
So
movie
many
and
Full
Pet
House
Cemetery and that thing. Like God, that kid was everywhere. Holy
Let's
crap.
see him again if
I hope his parents put that money away for him. That's all I can say.
Yes, and
name.
I know Hollywood kid actors, a lot of them kind of end up a little tragic or, end up in a shitty spot. I hope that guy is doing well. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt him.
No, you didn't. He was the kid of the moment, though. I was going to say, like, this movie is actually packed full of people who were, like, super popular at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
He does a great job. Like the kid actor did a great job throughout this movie to really sell like just everything with it. I love the dinosaur Rex that he has that you see the slash marks
plushie.
on, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Rex."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, Rex is cool.
Yeah.
I just imagine directing this kid and being like, okay, now you're going to just scream uncontrollably
Yeah.
until the phone rings.
Now No, act like Freddy.
Action.
We're gonna turn off the TV and you're gonna scream.
Just keep screaming. Okay, great. Okay, now in this
Okay,
scene,
now we're going to give you these new newspaper clippings. We're going to make you spell this, and then you're going to talk in this really weird, creepy, raspy voice.
Yeah.
Followed by screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, kids,
Another
screaming
thing
really good.
That kid's a really good actor, but I found this funny when they got to like the final scene there and like with the fire and all that shit. He like ran out screaming like once he saw like Robert Englund in makeup and all that. So they basically had to like take a whole thing where like Robert Englund like talked to him normal and like let him know the actor and all that, and they had to calm him down because he was terrible, just like Freddy. And that whole
used that shot in the movie.
Well, they had that whole area.
I don't know.
Well, they had that whole area
probably.
with the. I mean, they built that like area with the steam and the fire and all that. Like that's 94. That shit's real. So he was terrified, and they had to like calm him down. And they said it took some
And
time
that's a real ass
get
snake.
him
you know
to
what
be
I mean?
on like
That snake, that fucking boa constrictor is a real snake.
and the eel too. Like the one that there's like an eel in there where she grabs.
And there's just like a random huge ass pool of water that Nancy falls in, and it's like, yeah, this place is fucking scary. Jesus.
Oh, it's they do the marshmallow stairs. I was so excited about that callback.
Yeah.
That's
I was like,
cool.
They do totally look like
doing
such
this
marshmallows.
again?
I liked it because it looks hard to get out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
I
does.
Oatmeal stairs, that's what I call it.
That's what I put in my notes too.
Oatmeal stairs.
I think
They called them what?
Oatmeal stairs.
Oatmeal stairs. I like that. Apparently,
burnt marshmallow.
from either I think it was on a commentary for the original movie. A lot of the actors and people like don't remember exactly what they did to make that entire sequence with the stairs and like the squishy material, but apparently it felt like pancake batter, and it's like I want to know what that feels like. Like walking.
You get a bunch of pancake batter and you
just
put it on the
walk in
ground
it.
and step in it.
It looks it looks better than the the original one. Like you can kind of see the holes were already there before she puts her feet in it and all that. And this one looks like more. It looks better. You know, a lot of the stuff a lot of the effects that are repeated, like when he comes out of the bed and all that, it looks a lot better than it originally.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ken, you just shared something in the chat that you should mention.
Yeah, actually, this year there was a fan Nightmare on Elm Street movie called Dylan's New Nightmare.
Ooh,
and it's the unofficial sequel to this, but Miko Hughes comes back to play Dylan.
Well,
Right,
I'm watching
right.
it.
It's like a fan
God,
film,
I
right?
would watch
It's
that.
like
Yeah.
a 30-minute fan film.
Yeah.
Watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, I wonder how you can get a hold of it.
It's on YouTube.
It might be on YouTube. I think.
It is on
You
YouTube.
can probably just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
100%.
That's amazing.
What's
Okay, I'm curious about this too.
is Robert Englund in it?
He's officially retired from the role. Like he's completely done.
I doubt that, but okay.
No, I'm not saying that like it's an opinion. It's
Add some
actual
zeros.
fact.
So
He's
Put it on the zero behind that offer.
He said if he got the right offer, he would come back.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
yeah.
Well, I think also New Line.
No, I mean, when I recently saw him in the panel, that's what he said.
Okay.
If he got the right offer, he would come back.
But hey, remember we got a new guy that's in Dead by Daylight. That's going to be our Freddy for the one movie we made
God.
that apparently didn't. I'm curious about watching that movie now, by the way, but I don't know if I
the
should.
remake.
Yeah,
I downloaded it and watched it.
Did we watch it?
I didn't watch it. I don't think we watched it together.
Oh, I
I
never
watched
saw
it. I don't know. I watched it. I was drunk one night. I was like, let's put it on. I was like, this movie's boring.
And it didn't get your approval, did it?
It was.
I like that they turned the character of Nancy, from a cool, interesting final girl in the original movie to fucking boring as shit in the remake.
All right, I'm done then. I don't need to watch it now. All right.
He likes his final girls.
I really do.
Hello, I also love Final Girls. They're amazing, and they're like my superheroes. Like,
So Ken,
they're
what's
wonderful.
worse, the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street or where Halloween goes later on?
All right, you guys ready for this? You're going to love it.
Yes.
I don't hate the remake. I think the remake is fine.
Okay.
We can't
Great.
be friends. That's it.
All right.
They tried.
It's a movie. It's got credits.
Mm.
I don't hate the later Halloweens. Maybe
I
that's
like-
controversial.
I like
didn't
the
hate-
later.
I didn't hate it either.
I like the later
I like
Halloweens.
the last one too. I know a lot of people hated it because Michael Myers wasn't in it enough, but I liked it.
I loved Halloween.
I want to see
Ends.
more of those.
I
I'm
love
actually
Halloween
like,
Ends.
The last one. I like the one before the last one too.
Yep.
we will be soon.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved all the David Gordon Green Halloweens. Like even the ones that like people were like really shitting on. I'm like, I like this. I don't know what everyone else is whining about.
Yeah, I thought they were all pretty good. I mean, I think they were better than the sequels before that.
Oh yeah, mostly.
the-
Hell yeah, totally agree.
Better than H2O.
Yeah.
One of the scariest scenes in this movie for me, we talked a little bit with the playground, I was thinking to myself, like, God, that is unsafe. You shouldn't be able to let the kid climb out on top of the freaking, thing.
It would never open, right? I was saying it would never open.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't open
That
like
thing
that.
would be welded shut.
Yeah, like, I remember at a McDonald's, there was a McDonald's playpen
Those
many
were
times
so
years
not
ago.
safe.
I mean, it was like a metal thing where you climbed up into, like, a burger policeman and it had, like, a
was that
jail
like
up
a
there. Like,
Hamburglar
couldn't-
policeman man? Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
I remember that.
Uh-huh.
It was
you
a
couldn't-
different
you couldn't
time.
bend the bars, but that's what it made me think of, is that this was way higher than that.
It would burn the shit out of you in the summer, but you
Yes.
Oh,
couldn't
yes.
climb out
But
of
it
it.
Oh yeah, considering that's Los Angeles, like good lord.
Oof, yeah, you'd be on fire. That would be so hot.
But I mean that scene, just everything with that, the way like you guys are talking about this, and the way also John Saxon talks to her, I love all that. What I want to go back to, we mentioned a little bit earlier, is the whole mansion part. Like later on, after you have Dylan is sleepwalking, he crosses the freeway. The freeway is such a great scene too.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I
Terrifying.
think that was part of what. I mean, when I watched it the first time, that was obviously the most memorable part, where the clouds turn into Freddy, and there's like
Oh, yeah.
100 Freddys, which all of them are real. I guess like everybody who was on the set got a Freddy mask for that part, where they,
that was cool.
where they run to the.
That was a great little scene, and just watching all the destruction of the freeway, I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, you can't cross an LA freeway. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
She gets hit by a car,
Oh, there's just a lot of
rolls,
traffic
gets
there.
scratches on her, but she has a limp for the rest of the movie when she catches her kid.
She gets a limp earlier in the movie.
Isn't it from when she catches her kid?
I thought she got the limp from.
Let's just say
had the
she
limp at
committed to the
at
limp. You know what I
hospital.
mean?
She was very
That's
committed,
what
however she
I'm
got it. She was very committed. But when she got
Yep.
hit by an actual
Okay.
car, she was up and gone.
Yep.
But I didn't. But that whole
They
scene
think
when
like 3 times you have to cross the highway to get home.
I mean, I think that is realistic.
It was like Frogger.
But like when she gets to the house and John Saxon is there waiting, and we were talking about a little bit ago, but I wanted to go more into it. And then all of a sudden, like he switches from calling her Heather, just calling her Nancy.
Yeah.
And like you guys were saying, then the house changes. I'm just like, damn, that is an intense scene.
And she's just like,
And their clothes change.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden she's wearing her pajamas and he's wearing his, trench coat,
It's the same
cop
yeah,
outfit.
the-
She sees
yeah,
his cop
the coat,
badge
Yeah.
and she knows. Now she knows, like the dream's coming to life. The dream is now.
But it
When
goes
she
so
says, "I
slow
love you,
too.
Daddy,"
It's
she
it's so-
accepts it.
It's so subtle at first. Like first you just see the badge. Then he calls her Nancy a couple times. And then she finally, when she gets out of the house, she gives in and she calls him dad or daddy.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and goes into the house. And I'm just like, this is hella good.
They do a little nod to her old house. There's like a scene where you see her white picket fence, and her white picket fence of her quote unquote real house is covered in roses. And in the original, she had that like trellis that Johnny Depp would climb up
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah.
covered in roses. So you get like they're doing a lot of visually in the beginning to bring you there mentally, even if you aren't paying attention, like it's happening. And then all of a sudden there we are at that same house again.
For sure.
I thought that was really cool.
I guess they were originally planning on using the same set for the original movie, but from the commentary, he said that it ended up being way too expensive, and that's why
Yeah.
when it came to it, that's why they ended up just using the same inside of her regular house, just with the outside different. But I don't know, it
I
works,
kind of like
works
it
fine.
better.
It works fine for me. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
yeah, like a
I mean, I like the breadcrumbs that are sleeping pills. I thought that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. That's
She
really
shouldn't
good.
take too many
But
of them.
don't take that many. That's
Yeah, don't
dangerous.
take that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You will not be okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
she took like 5. I'm like, that's gonna kill you. Don't do that.
Yeah. No kidding. Holy shit.
Did you learn anything from Heath Ledger? Come on.
Oh no.
Hypnosis.
It's not okay.
I did enjoy the whole like
They need
don't
to
go to
work.
sleep. Everything from the previous movies, but now in real life, like that was all really good. I felt it really got me. Or when they tell we talked about earlier with the whole like the secret shot where they trick him and give him a shot so he goes to sleep because they're trying to keep him awake. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh man, if that were my kid, I'd be thrown.
Woo.
punches.
People
I
do
would
that.
I'd be in
Punched
trouble.
somebody.
I
I'd
liked
be
when-
arrested.
Fucking face
like-
off.
I liked when Julie snuck a punch to that nurse. Like hell yeah.
I
you
love
go there.
that. That'd be me
Old
10
lady there.
times over. She'd be dead.
If somebody did that to my cat, you know what I mean? I don't have
Right.
a kid. But
Yeah.
I would
you
punch.
do
I
some
would punch that person in the throat.
shit. my pet, and I will fucking murder you.
I love seeing John Saxon again in this, though.
Oh yeah,
And he's so sweet.
I like that actor. He's cool.
really is.
John
He's a good
Saxon
dude.
rules.
Yes,
He's
but
just
I-
wearing a lot of
Thank you,
makeup.
Ken. Thank you.
He was in wasn't he in like Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee or something?
Yeah.
He was in one.
Yeah. Yes,
He was
Yeah.
also in another slasher horror classic, Black Christmas.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Never seen that, but
You've
just like
never
the
seen
actor.
Black Christmas? Oh my god!
That movie's good. We watched that last year.
I've been trying to get him to cover it, y'all.
Is that the one with Hooney?
But
No.
Black Christmas was that was that one was like
Silent Night.
Deadly Night.
Yeah, exactly.
Black Christmas
I've
was the
never
one. It's the one where the guy kills all the
Yeah.
girls at the sorority.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
It was like the.
Oh,
It was
Black
great. Yeah, we
Christmas
watched,
is
we watched the
Black
original one.
yeah. Black
Yeah.
Christmas is the one with Olivia Hussey.
The what?
That's her name.
Oh
That's
yeah.
The actor, that's the actor's name who plays the main girl, Olivia Hussey.
Wasn't she in It? Is it the same one that was in It?
I
Yeah.
believe she was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same one that played
in
Audra.
show. Wasn't she in like the Romeo and Juliet movie too?
Yeah,
Yep.
she was. That was like her most famous role, like too.
Yeah, where they did with like the underage nudity and the asshole director and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yep.
the one.
I just listened to a podcast earlier where they mentioned it.
Bunch of fucking scumbags.
Yeah,
Hey,
they
sometimes
were
you get
trying
facts
to. They were
on
like
It's
trying to.
Shakespeare's fault. It's Shakespeare's
Yeah,
fault.
they're, like,
Why are
trying
you
to-
writing 13-year-olds
Yeah.
having a bunch of crazy sex
They've
Shakespeare?
been like trying to sue
You
the
fucking
company
pervert.
still, like now over it.
I can say that. I worked in a Shakespeare theater for 15 years,
So
so
you know him. You
I
might matter.
I can talk shit about Shakespeare all day.
it doesn't matter to
I
me.
do.
Sucks.
That's right. We
My
go way
only
back.
thing that I like about Shakespeare involves him writing a play for a bunch of fairies. So unless it's about that, I'm not interested.
It's
The only
I
thing
love
I-
Shakespeare, but
The only thing I care about Shakespeare are the remakes of his stories done in film, and also Greg Weisman.
yeah. So like 10 Things I Hate About You. We love
Yeah,
that one.
exactly. Yeah, yes.
Mhm.
How can you not?
Another scene I want to talk about is kind of near the end. I felt like the climax of this movie is, again, really good. Like everything with them when she takes the sleeping pills, besides she should be dead, but like her going into the dream dimension, but she has her knife, and Freddy having a freaking castle, but also having furnaces like the original Freddy. Like that was just awesome.
She's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
spewed out by Freddy.
Yeah, I like it, and I didn't think about it, but yeah, it's
Just
a
a
practical
water
set.
slide.
Because
Gets to like slide
Oh
there.
yeah, that
It's pretty
slide
cool.
looks so fun.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, it
hope
does,
everyone
it does.
got to take a turn going down
Oh
that
yeah,
slide.
when she goes into the bed sheets and then that actually looks like a lot of fun. I'd do that.
Badass
Yeah.
slide,
Yeah.
that's all I
And
can think of.
You get to
And then
land.
it's a water slide. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you go in the water. Like that sounds like a fun fucking like ride in a hotel. Like I want to go to that.
And you get
I
shot
said
out of
to
Freddy's
Trey,
mouth.
I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
here's an idea. Haunted water slides. Let's go.
Yeah, haunted water slide.
It's a whole franchise. We've got a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Be fun.
It's just a good scene, and it also like again, one of my things that I'm into in these movies is that Nancy is very much, or Heather is taking control of the situation. She's fighting Freddy. She's and then especially her and Dylan are fighting together against Freddy, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of them are
another-
weak characters in this.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Another fun fact that tongue fight was added later, like because they had a test screening where they thought that Freddy went down too quick, so that's why they
Where
added.
he wraps his tongue
Yeah,
around
they
her.
added-
I was
they added
not a
tongue
fan
out.
of that.
And Heather Langenkamp did not like that. at all.
No.
I did not like that. It was just weird.
Yucky.
I
Very
always liked the
yucky.
serpent tongue though, like when they split his
Yeah.
tongue.
The serpent tongue was cool, but you didn't need the tongue wrapping completely around her face.
That
And
looked
it was
pretty-
around,
That did
like,
look pretty
everything.
suggestive.
Like, it was under the
I
clothes
also
and everything.
don't see any reason why stabbing the tongue would make him retract the tongue completely.
Have you
Like,
ever
did that tongue
bitten
wrap
your
around her
tongue,
like
though?
50 fucking
Yeah.
times?
I've been
Probably just cut a part of it since there's so much of it's out.
I would have cut it off at his mouth. You know what I mean?
Same.
Don't stab the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the wrong move.
Well, it's the little boy that's doing it, though.
Okay,
That stabbed
right.
him.
I'm not. Yeah, obviously he's never stabbed a tongue before. He doesn't have these.
He's a little kid.
Just
Of course he
next
does.
time, kid. Next time you need to
Next
stab a tongue.
time
I've
you
got some
know to
Polish
just
for you.
cut it off at the mouth.
I mean, okay. I would have rather had it like where she chopped it off, and then it, he would have lost his tongue, and but it was fine.
The serpent part I thought it looked cool.
His serpent tongue did look cool. The rest
Yeah.
of it, gross.
I also
But the
this Freddy
tongue, I mean,
wasn't scared of
because my
fire.
Tongue has always been a Freddy
The
thing.
tongue is a character.
He did once.
Yeah, I think you fight multiple tongues in the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game.
Can I-
and yeah,
can
fucking
I,
just all.
Oh, sorry.
Fire's the only thing that can kill Freddy. Go ahead.
Sorry, can I make another big kind of like, hot take? But it's not really like a hot take. It's just, I actually really like the Nightmare NES game. I actually really like that game.
Hey, it was one of the few games where you could play 4-player. So
Yeah, exactly.
That was cool.
Exactly.
Never played it.
I had that 4-player adapter, and I think that's the only game I could ever use it on. And I didn't use it until I was like 25. So and I got that thing when I was like 10 because I thought it worked on the Turtles game. But that was a Rare game. The guys who made
Rare.
They made Country.
GoldenEye and
The Donkey Kong Country, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, like a bunch of actually good games.
it was the same. The soundtrack was done by the same guy who did the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack.
Yeah, David Wise, I think.
Yeah, David Wise. He's awesome.
Yeah, he rules.
Speaking of, kind of parallel anyway, all the New Line Cinema shots in this movie were actually shot at New Line Cinema offices.
They were.
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
was a pretty easy movie to make, I guess, because some of it was. Yeah, and they had actual work.
They were like, Tom, get out of your office. We're just, we're going to shoot in here today. Which I worked the movie. I worked on a TV show a couple years ago, and they had to shoot a wardrobe scene. And so they were like, we'll shoot it in wardrobe, which fucking sucked.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't do any work. We're just like all standing around while they shoot in our department. And we're like, how are we supposed to work in wardrobe when you're shooting in wardrobe? Fuck you.
And it's going to take all day,
so
too.
I'm sure it really pissed off everybody at New Line Cinema.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It was 2 days for us. It was 2 days. I can't do anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and New Line Cinema is like almost, I guess they were bought by Warner Brothers now, and they've just kind of got folded into that.
Swallowed.
I was trying to figure out what if anything really exists of it anymore. I guess they just kind of got absorbed.
I don't
New
really
Line.
like
We're so
stuff with
big.
Warner Brothers right now with Zazzle and that.
Yeah, no,
That's the way
I think that is kind of sad. Like, I don't know, like, I have memories of New Line Cinema movies and, like, going to the theater and seeing their logo, especially when I saw Mortal Kombat and just as the new...
Mortal Kombat
yes.
and Turtles.
Yes.
So.
Turtles.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them.
And, like, if you saw the Mortal Kombat movie in theaters or whatever, as the New Line Cinema logo comes up, you just hear that Mortal Kombat!
Yeah.
It's like, hell yes.
I didn't. If I remember correctly, the guy they're talking to actually was the head of New Line Cinema at the time.
Yeah, Bob Shea.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, they used actual people.
Yeah,
The
they
part
did.
with Wes Craven, where she talks to Wes Craven, I guess they had to do that multiple times because he's a mumbler, and the whoever was monitoring the sound was like, "I can't hear you, I can't hear you."
You're a shitty actor,
And
Wes.
he was getting really pissed about it. He's like, "Can we just like stop doing? Can we just go and do something else? I'm really tired of trying to act here." Like,
oh, no.
yeah. I mean, if you have to do one thing over and over and over again, I can understand being upset.
But I think that's kind of funny though.
He didn't enunciate. He never did a Shakespeare.
He worked behind the camera in front of him.
I did appreciate the ending, like how you get rid of Freddy, like because he climbs in the furnace. I was confused. I'm like, well, there's fire. Why is he should be scared of fire? But since it's not actually Freddy, it's more of a demon.
Yeah.
Being Freddy, like that. And then I realized, the fire's not actually there until after they shove him in there, lock the door, then they hit a lever, and then they burn him.
Then he was scared of fire.
Yeah, he didn't like it then.
How did you feel about like all the Hansel and Gretel parallels? Like,
I mean, considering that's a horror
Cookie
story
crumbs,
in
as it
itself.
were.
I mean, they do kind of beat it over the head a little bit. I think, like, it's a little bit.
That
That- that's
story.
the same thing where like we stuck him in there, now he's going to burn because he's the witch, or
I didn't think it was too much. I really didn't.
didn't
I think they could have. My least favorite thing in the whole world is when they do a bit and then somebody explains the bit to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody explained. And nobody was like, and see, he died like the witch. We didn't have that
yeah.
scene, and so I was really thankful for that. We got the pills as cookie crumbs. I felt like legit it was the right amount of allegory.
Yeah, there is like one part where she picks up the sleeping pill and she's like breadcrumbs, and then like it replays Dylan saying again that it's breadcrumbs.
Right.
And I was like, we could have cut
Okay,
that.
yeah, we don't
Dylan
need that.
Stuff
That's
out
okay.
of
A
there.
little bit,
Yeah.
little
I
bit.
did think that was a little bit too
Rain
much.
a little, but it still
hammer on the
wasn't as
head.
bad as it could have been.
It's like we know. It's
Yeah, but I was happy at the end that we didn't get that.
The witch in the storybook has Freddy claws.
Yep.
The drawing.
I
didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool.
So it makes it even more.
I'm fine with it. Like, I do get irritated with it sometimes, but this movie didn't bother me. The allegories and all that, like, it just fit. And like when they finally kill Freddy, and then they both wake up, and then she just sitting in the damaged room and then the script is just there. I thought that was a cool touch.
And then when she starts reading the script, it's literally the ending of the movie. And as the movie ends, I'm like, I love that. That's actually really great.
I would like it. But I think you get 3 times. If you're gonna use something to tell us the story, you get 3 times to use it. You get to introduce it, you get to remind us of it, and then you get to do it. And this did exactly that.
3 times can work sometimes.
Yeah.
Watching this, there's so many movies now that like do this. Like this hasn't really. I didn't feel like this had been done that much back then, but there's so many movies like where they do like the same scene again, like the fucking Matrix movie where they play the scene of the Matrix in the background while they're doing that same scene in the Matrix
that whole new
in front of it. And I'm like,
nightmare.
this movie. You had to look at this movie. Here's a better way to do this than like what you're doing with everything else. Like we have to do the same.
I think it did use it selectively.
Yeah, but it did it better, where it was still its own story, but it still did callbacks. It wasn't trying to do the exact same thing.
I did find it interesting how she's reading the script to Dylan. Then at the end of the movie, like she goes to the beginning and just starts reading like a horror movie to him, and I'm like, okay,
it's just a story now. No,
I can't watch your movie, but I can read it to you.
And
Well, I mean, considering what Dylan has just gone through, I think it'd be appropriate. Like, why not? Like, you already went through like the worst. So
he's going to sleep through it. She's going to sleep through it. He hasn't slept in like weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you going to say, Ken?
I was just going to say, I mean, in a sense, this is kind of just taken on its own fairy tale idea, becoming another story that's going to keep Freddy contained.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
That's a good point.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right.
So see, we have to keep talking about this movie to keep him contained. You keep bringing talk
exactly.
No.
Okay, so
doing a
guys,
public service.
I hope y'all are not going to be busy for the next the next couple of weeks. We're going to be on this podcast for a couple of weeks. Yeah,
This is part
Well,
1
sleep-
out of 55.
I call it first shift. I'm going to bed.
yeah.
Whoever falls asleep.
I'm going to need a couple of minutes. I'm going to have to brew up some coffee, but I'll be back for another shift. So yeah, don't worry.
That's amateur stuff. I got a coffee maker right here under my computer desk.
Ah, damn it.
Hey, we got a whole thing of
I'm
hypno.
sorry, mine's in my kitchen. I always keep it there. I'm sorry.
You got to hide it in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Just
we got boxes of hypnocell we can send to you. So
We're too
thank
drinking.
you.
We're kind of fucked on the coffee front, but hypnosis.
When the doctors are like talking to her and when they're talking to each other, like the way that they're like, I bet she don't even let the kids sleep. I thought that was like, whew, they are vicious. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's a great nod to doctors are thinking like,
Real
oh, you're
doctors.
being a really shitty parent. You know what I mean? And instead she's being a really good parent
Yeah, exactly.
and no one will listen.
And you do have there are a couple like scenes that you guys had brought up that I want that when you brought up earlier how she was actually having a stalker. Like you have the limo driver who's kind of a creep in this.
Kind of.
Oh,
He's a real creep.
yeah, he's creepy. You have
Yeah.
stuff like that I all felt was good. Like when they go to when she has the interview at the TV station and they don't tell her that Robert England's just going to pop out of the wall dressed as Freddy.
Yeah.
Like just disrespecting her completely. Like, you can at least tell her.
You could tell she was uncomfortable telling the world her son's name.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which makes sense. Like there's crazy people out there. I mean, that's what the whole point. Like she's getting these, phone calls from someone stalking her, and it, everything just fits together like a glove so well throughout this movie. One last thing that we haven't talked
the new
about.
design of the glove. Good, by the way. The bone and the bone and muscles of the new glove was pretty.
Oh, I love the glove. The glove is so awesome.
Going to make it more, and it finally had a thumb knife. It never had a thumb knife in the other ones.
Yep.
Just the 4 knives. On the subject of tea, when we had just mentioned tea earlier, I do have to say that watching as many Law and Order SVU episodes as we have, it's really nice to see somebody actually drinking tea in a movie for once instead of like empty.
Yeah.
Because when she goes to Wes Craven's place, it's real tea with real steam coming out of it. Like it's
Nice. Good.
It's I love to see it because there's too many everything. Everybody's carrying empty cups.
Exactly.
Like you don't drink coffee like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing there.
I just don't drink
I don't
coffee.
understand people who do that in a TV show where they're walking and drinking and they literally walk and drink at the same time. Like, how are you doing that? I need to stop when I take a sip of something. Like I
You're
have
also
to
holding it like hot or
Yeah.
there's nothing.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
drink cold coffee, so
You can tell when it's empty.
Yeah, there was I did
Yeah.
some I did some McDonald's commercial where they were using empty cups, and I was like, put something in there. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that much time to get back, tell somebody to fill the cups.
Oh, we should make it the sound person's job because they can
Exactly.
say like
You can
it
hear it.
sounds wrong.
We can
Yeah.
hear it. That,
We'll
that
be
there's
like,
nothing
oh,
in the
the
cup.
sound person said it sounds wrong.
Yeah, that we was someone where where they had like the microphone cups or whatever, and I was like, it really sounds like there's nothing in it. Can you fill it? Can you put something in?
I have this business idea. It's my second business idea of the podcast, aside from horror water slide parks.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, my second business idea is making just like resin inserts for coffee cups and teacups
Oh yeah.
on movie sets. I'll just sell the inserts.
That's brilliant. I love it.
And then it'll be weighted so people will hold it like it's heavy.
Oh yeah, we should
Yeah,
do that.
exactly.
We can make money off that.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Call it Wolf. They do so many coffee scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing we haven't touched on in this movie that I want to talk about is Robert Englund in this film.
Yes.
He's
Robert Englund in this?
when he plays himself.
The
Yeah.
devil. Oh,
Well,
yes.
it's-
That's my favorite part.
When he just plays himself.
Yes.
I don't know. I found it weird. Like he just seemed weird in this.
I wonder if it was weird.
I think he's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was wondering where it was gonna go because like when he calls her that one time and she's like, "Can I come over?" and he's like, "No, it's not a good time," and he's just painting the picture. Like I thought and then you never see him again as
He
himself.
kind of disappears after that. Yeah.
And I
he's
felt like
gotta
there
put
should
the
have been
makeup
one more
on. It
scene.
takes a while.
Died. You know what I mean?
There
It's
was
gotta-
the recording. That was your scene. Where she calls them and he says, "We're not here right now. You can leave a message, but
Oh.
we won't be back for a while."
Oh yeah,
That was your scene. That was
Okay.
your closure.
yeah, and you never, he's just gone.
Yeah.
I was just like,
He kind of just disappears. I mean, I think that's what's supposed to happen. That he's, yeah.
But that it's implying that he was freaked out and he left.
But I like
Message.
seeing him with I think it's talking about the real world.
Yeah.
Obviously, like this is the end of Freddy. You won't see me for a while.
Oh, maybe.
oh yeah, because
Yeah.
we didn't get another one till what 2013 right or 2010.
Right. I think
2010. That was when the remake came out.
I
Well,
think that's what it's about.
2003 was the last time Robert played Freddy. That was Freddy versus Jason.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that movie exists.
Yeah.
It was
I
right.
liked it when I
for
saw
a
it.
while. That was like 10 years. But I really like how he is with like all the people. He's hamming it up. He's signing autographs, and then when he leaves her, he gives her a kiss on the cheek. I just,
Yeah, there's a
it
whole lot
felt
of
super actory to me.
cheek
It just
kissing.
felt real
Yeah.
actory.
Yeah,
I was like, yep, that's an actor.
yeah.
He's
There's
acting it up.
there's a lot of
It's
cheek
probably
kissing,
weird
but I
for
like I like how you get to see Robert Englund as Robert Englund. He gets to be his nice self. Even though I always thought the part with the painting was kind of funny, where he's like, "Is he darker, more evil?" when he's on the phone.
And the funeral scene, like when she bumps her head and she ends up like falling, with a casket. I like that too. Like where the kid gets pulled in, then it's all a dream, and John Saxon's like, "You're fine. Like what you just fell."
And it's like well, I don't know what I'm going to call it, a call forward. It's a call forward to what happens at the end, where she ends up in the sheets in the tunnel.
Oh yeah, because you have the tunnel there too. Yeah, because they have similar thing where you go in there and you see the tunnel and he goes through it. Yeah, for sure. And I think that was that funeral set was the same set that they used in the original movie also, or that where they were that cemetery.
Sure,
It's used in Nightmare on Elm Street 1 also.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
They probably just have an open plot there. That's like their movie plot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just use
It's like
for
why,
movies.
Sure.
come back
Yeah,
to it.
fuck yeah.
I mean, it is
I
Los
guess-
Angeles, and so
It is LA,
there's
yeah,
stuff like
100%.
that.
Yeah.
It's all-
No, you can't use it
There was
today.
one-
It's being used for Beetlejuice.
Fuck that
That's
movie.
right.
The
I really
Beetlejuice
hate
too.
that movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wait,
Go listen
the
to my
first
episode.
one?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Really?
Wait.
Go listen to my episode I recorded about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Man.
think I was the
I love
only
that- I love
one
that
on
movie.
there that liked that movie, and it was very awkward.
What?
Really?
Ken was on
Beetlejuice?
there, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
Oh, Ken,
For your dog.
were you
Jeff.
on that
Ken, do you
episode?
like
Keith, speak up.
I was not on that episode.
But do you like Beetlejuice?
Yeah, of course. What am I, a
Okay,
monster?
thank fucking Christ.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
apparently. I do not like Beetlejuice.
He didn't like it before he saw it. He was biased.
I don't like Tim Burton, I've realized.
Well, I don't like him now, but he
No.
used to be cool.
But Beetlejuice is good. I mean, most of the rest of it is trash.
But he used to be really cool, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Batman, Beetlejuice. Like I thought
I
that
do
was
like
like
Batman.
even Batman
That's so
Returns
good.
was good, as weird as it was.
Yeah.
I was saying
Oh,
Tim
boy.
Burton used to be cool
Mike!
before like whatever he is now.
Hey,
Before he
Mike,
became a character of himself.
Yes.
have you seen sorry if we're talking about Tim Burton
Uh-huh.
movies, have you ever seen Ed Wood?
Oh yeah, I love that.
No, I've never seen that.
You've never seen Ed Wood? Oh my God, you have to watch Ed Wood. Holy shit.
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
It was
You
I
need
watched
to-
it.
You need
Have
to
you ever
watch Ed
seen-
Wood.
Have you ever seen like any Ed Wood movies, like Plan 9 from Outer Space or anything like that?
No,
Or
I
Plan
don't
or
want
Glenn? Oh, that movie's so good.
Yeah,
It's
Ed
fucking
Wood.
so
Ed
good.
It's
Wood
black and
is
white. I don't like black and white films.
What? Get
You
out
have to
of here.
change that.
Get out.
Mike.
Oh,
come
there was
on.
something you guys just reminded. I
Okay.
reminded myself, but I want to say in this movie at one point when somebody's getting stabbed or something's happening, they do the Psycho soundtrack like dee 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 dee. They do that.
Yeah, they do. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
where
when
it
they're
is.
fighting the tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was like, that's Psycho. A black and white
That's
movie
in
I did
black
like.
and white.
I like that movie.
And
Though.
there's there's also the part where Freddy like comes out of the bed and walks across the room and you can see a shadow on the wall. That's a reference to Nosferatu.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh,
100%.
it is.
I forgot
Another
about
black
that.
and white movie.
Which
that
you might
probably
know
hate.
if you
Another
watch
one
black
that
and
he
white
will
movies.
never watch.
I'm not watching Nosferatu. I watched
Why?
Psycho.
It was so
What-
good.
Wait, but I won't watch the
Come
remake of Psycho
on.
with whatever the hell
Mike.
his name is.
Seen Citizen
Vince
Kane?
Vaughn.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Ooh.
What about Citizen Kane?
Never seen it.
Like,
Have no
What?
interest.
considered one of the best
Come
movies of all
on.
time. Black and white.
Boo.
Boo to Mike.
No, boo to Citizen Kane. Fuck that movie.
Oh.
No, but seriously though, come on, Mike. You need to watch some black and white movies. They're
What
great.
about Casablanca? That movie's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have no interest.
Oh my God, you guys! Why
What
did I
about
marry
Bride
this
of
man?
It's one of my favorites.
I'm just not a big
I'm
fan
proud
of.
I've seen all of these.
See, hey, because of this podcast and because of Ken and Bill, I have definitely broadened my horizon. So maybe in a year, 2 years, it'll be different. But
yes, thank you, Ken. Thank you.
I mean, I
Thank
have. You know,
You
like
will
when I-
watch a black and white movie before the end of 2024.
And we have
Yeah,
we
okay,
ha-
pick
we
a
have
good
to get
one.
we have to get Mike to watch Ed Wood. Ed Wood is fucking massive.
I'll do it. Sure. It was on a
Yes.
poll.
Not
People didn't
black
vote
and
for
white.
it,
Is
so
it
it is black and white with
Oh.
some color. So
I didn't see that poll.
I'll show it to you.
Patreon poll. It's an older one. I do one poll every month usually with a
That's
different
how
movie.
we're doing this movie.
Yeah, and this whole year has been movies that Mike hasn't seen, and
Which is a lot.
I've crossed off a few.
We did Birdcage. That was good.
That was a few.
Well, that
movies,
has
too.
to be.
Oh no.
I don't know if you said that already, but yeah, you have to have a black and white movies that Mike hasn't seen poll.
That would be hard.
Oh.
But- Maybe okay. I'll do it for next year because I already have this poll going. There's a poll going on currently for Christmas movies.
What's
I know
that?
what December is. I don't remember. You're on the Patreon too.
No, is that the one Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies?
Yes.
Oh.
And
Gremlins
Violent
are
Night is
good.
winning right now.
What?
So.
Violent Night.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it was Christmas movies you didn't
David
see,
Harbour.
right? I
Is
thought
the
that.
Hoonie movie? Yeah, David Harbour.
I thought
We
the
call him
Gremlins.
Hoonie in our house. I can't explain that to you, but
Yeah, Hoonie.
David Harbour's name is Hoonie in our house.
'Cause, yeah,
Okay.
I would think that Gremlins would win that poll, but I
Yeah.
was hoping.
That's
that might
okay.
be-
I mean, Gremlin will happen a different year. Then it's gonna happen at some point when I need.
It will because his wife likes it.
So
Good job,
His
wife.
wife always gets her way.
it's weird how that works. Huh?
It is.
But
Well,
any
either
last
way.
things? Any last things you want to say about this movie that we didn't catch or we didn't touch on?
Let me see. Let me check my notes.
There's a little Easter egg when she calls Robert England. The notes that she dials on the phone are the notes for the score of the first movie.
Are they the bum bum bum?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I
That's
didn't hear that.
cool.
Yep. It's a little tiny
I know there's a
it's
post.
a little tiny thing.
I know there's a post credits. Like if you watch the credits all the way through, at the very end, there's the dun dun. The 1, 2 Freddy's. They do that at the end of the
Oh
credits.
yeah, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. They sing it right at the end.
Yeah.
They do.
They do that at end of every movie.
Well, I mean, they didn't really do it at all, aside from the kid, saying it. But
No,
it's-
I mean the end of every Freddy movie. Don't they do that?
I mean, it's always in there somewhere. I don't know if it's always at the end of the credits, but
Oh,
I know it's always a big part. It's always in there. Those fucking kids.
They're
always sing.
somewhere.
You know what I liked about this as like a person who's seen a lot of Batmans, and I get really pissed off when you see the pearls every time. Like I never need to see those pearls again in my life. I'll be so angry if we remake Batman again for the 17th time and we get the pearls.
No more pearls.
Fuck that shot. And just, sorry, it's just a personal
Ken
opinion. But
agrees. You didn't
So
say
we
anything
have-
yet, but I know he agrees.
Oh, yeah,
One-
absolutely.
Freddy's coming for you. So we don't see the kids skipping rope. We don't get.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
we don't have any
what
of that
I think
stuff
they
that you
did
see in
really
everything
great
else.
about this is restraint. Everything that they called back, I felt like we needed to see, and they didn't do a bunch of bullshit just to fill up this movie with old things from other movies.
One thing I want to say is this is Robert Englund's favorite nightmare. Supposedly,
Nice.
I didn't ask him
Nice.
personally, but
Wasn't his,
But-
it's not
but
his
according to
favorite
the internet,
film.
this is his favorite one because he liked the reunion and the story and all that stuff.
And when I met him, I did not ask him about the Mole Man.
About the what?
The Mole Man movie.
Well, you didn't know about it, but if you meet him again, you should because I mean that's a pretty cool question. I don't think
I'm not flying over to Boston to meet or flying across the country to meet him again.
I
But-
did not get a chance to ask him a question because he talked so much. He only answered like 4 questions.
Oh no.
That was probably a tactic on his part.
Yeah. He would just go from like answering the question to like, oh, there's this other story about that question.
Oh God.
But it was fun to listen to him talk.
He seems really nice.
Yeah.
Even I waited 3 hours, which I'll never forget.
He was really,
So,
you should have
but-
come to the panel. He was.
I was
fun.
busy sleeping.
Yes, I know.
I stood in one spot for 3 hours on concrete, and I don't stand that much anymore because I have a job where I sit down all day, and my legs did not appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you stood longer for Ashley. What's her name?
Oh.
For Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's
Like-
Oh,
cool.
Sokotano.
But we moved. I didn't stand in one spot. I actually was moving
He
for.
stood for over 3 hours for
In
that
one spot.
woman.
No, for her, I actually got to move around because the line moved. It wasn't like Robert England where I literally just stood there and watched the line not move.
And his wife went off and spent money, so that was fun.
Not for me. But yeah,
Has anybody on here seen the movie Devil's Backbone?
I've seen it.
I have not.
Absolutely.
It's a really,
Of course
really good
you have,
movie,
Keith.
and the person who told me to watch that movie was Robert Englund. So I think
Hey, nice.
that was a conversation over lunch. He was
Nice.
like,
That's a
"Hey,"
good one.
he was like, "Hey, have you seen The Devil's Backbone? It's really good." And I went to my local rental place and I rented like 3 movies that he told me to watch. It was like Devil's Backbone and like and Let the Right One In and like a third one. I don't remember.
Oh, great recommends.
Good stuff.
But Devil's Backbone was like just blew me away. Like that was the best one out of all.
Let the Right One is. Let the Right One in. Excuse me, is a good movie. Really good
It is a
movie.
good
No, it is a good movie, but I
Yeah.
liked but Devil's Backbone is really, really good.
I
don't
have
know,
not seen Devil's Backbone, but I've always heard it's really good.
It is.
It's so good.
Great allegory.
Yeah.
Genius. Love that
Del
one.
Toro is just a god. He can do whatever the hell he wants to at this point.
Well, let's not talk about.
No, we're not
Put
going to
them
talk
on the
about that
list.
movie.
Oh,
I'm on
what?
my potential list of movies to
one
cover
we
on this
saw.
podcast.
Crimson Peak.
Let
Oh,
the
yeah.
right one
Let's
in.
not talk about Crimson Peak. But
Yeah.
other than that, yes.
I would ask Ken his opinion when we get there. Yes. Okay, I think we should go down shelf stacker box. Sometimes I can't talk. And I'm going to go first because I want to.
Gosh,
Your show.
you're so selfish.
I am. This is going to go on the shelf because I really enjoyed this movie. It did what I like in horror movies. You don't kill a lot of people. You only kill 4, which is good. You're not too bloody,
Not too
and it's
bloody.
just very cool. And I went into this with no expectations, and I really enjoyed myself with
But
this
I
film.
knew you would like it.
This was a great movie, and I kind of want to watch Freddy 2, the second one, which I know is not a great
Nice.
movie, but I'm really curious to see what I think.
It's good.
So,
Freddy's
It's not bad.
yeah.
I'm
Good.
very curious to watch
I think
watch
it's-
more of them.
it's- I think it's like its legend has gotten better now because it's kind of got like queer themes and stuff. too.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why one reason I want to watch it because I want to see what.
How your opinion has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Watch 2 so you can
anything
watch
about
3.
that movie.
Yeah.
But I do want it. But no, I love this movie. This was great. This was so good of a watch, and I'm so glad people voted for me to watch this. So, all right. And what about you, Trey?
Way to go, voters. What's up? Oh,
Shelf stacker box.
whichever one's the great one. Shelf, right? Yeah. Whatever the number 1 is. I put it up there because of that wonderful rendition of that REM song that her husband sings in the
That's
car.
me in the corner.
I didn't. That was the one extra thing I wanted to mention is how hilarious that scene is when he's trying to stay up. I don't know, for some reason that was in my head during like the pandemic while we were at home.
I mean,
Him just in the truck being like, the spot, all right. That whole part
that's
is
driving in the middle of the night
fucking
Why was
hilarious.
he driving in the middle of the night?
to get home because his son needed
You
help.
need to be at the set for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he had to get
I
home to
didn't
help.
get it because it looked like it was the middle of the day. He had a 3-hour drive. Would it really be in the middle of the night?
I agree. It did look like he left at like noon and got
Yeah.
there. 1 a.m.
They added it because they needed blood. So you need.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite callback. I liked that one.
Okay. And Jess, what about you?
I'm gonna put it on the shelf for sure.
Okay.
Even though it is in a drawer right now.
Well, that's just the way it is. We just have drawers
It
and
was my-
shelves.
it was
This is
my-
a metaphoric show.
It's not a
It
judgment.
was my fault. I put it there. I
But-
put it in a drawer.
It's on the shelf, which is a drawer in our house at this point.
And Mr. Kenneth.
I mean, I don't think it should surprise anybody. This is absolutely going on the shelf for me. It's my favorite Nightmare. And arguably, it's probably the best from an objective standpoint. But, it's art. It's subjective. Whatever. Shelf it. We'll move on.
Okay.
Did it? One weird thing about it. I'm sorry, I forgot this.
No, you're fine.
It made the least amount of money out of all of them. Out of
Yeah,
all the Nightmares,
unfortunately.
as far as box office. I think it only made 18 million or something
Yeah,
like
18 million with a budget of 8 million, so that's not good.
Yeah.
that. I
Audience.
mean, but it's the smallest amount. It underperformed, I guess, compared to the other ones. I mean, not that it's any less. I just.
200% of your budget. I mean, terrible.
I mean, yeah, they didn't lose money. Still, compared to even Freddy's Dead got 40 million or something like that.
Yeah, but if you only make enough money to pay your actors and make a little bit of profit, then you suck. Because you got to make lots of profit and not pay your actors.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it.
No, I know. That's how the Hollywood
it
thing.
did less than the other ones. Even though it could be argued that it's the best one, but it did less in the box office.
Fuck the box.
All right, and what about you, Kyle?
Well, I'm going to have to put this on my shelf. I really love this movie. I think it's really impressive, really well made. This might be my second favorite movie next to... Actually, I think this might be my second favorite Wes Craven movie. My first would have to either be Scream 1 or Scream 2, then this movie. I love this movie a lot, and it's so good, and it's such a good finale for the Nightmare series, and I don't know. I really love everything that Wes Craven did with this film. It's such a work of art. It's so unique and really impressive.
Okay. And Tiffany.
Well, the shelf. It's like everybody said. It's also my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. It deserves to be.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of them, but... All right. I think that's everything. So, Kyle, where can people find you at?
You can find me on various sites on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at ChibiUFO. You can find me on Twitter at UFO_Canada. And you can find me on Blue Sky at ChibiUFO. And yeah, you can find me on those various places as well.
All right. And Trey, where can people find you at?
You can find me at the website that will forever be known as Twitter as well, as at Nintendo_domain. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Nintendo Main Podcast or youtube.com/Nintendo Main Podcast, or just, look up Nintendo Main. Or Jess and I, we had a show called How Is It Now that you can find as well, where we talked about movies and stuff.
Okay.
And did Oscar commentaries. That you can
And
find
it won't
online.
be forever known as Twitter, because it won't exist at the rate he's going in a year, so...
No, that's my joke that I don't want to call it the other thing.
No,
Yeah, same.
it's Twitter. He's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I agree.
True.
I also
And
think he doesn't like me
It's amazing
somehow.
how much it how
He doesn't like anyone. He doesn't have to. He's got $1 billion fucking
No,
dollars.
but
it's amazing how much
I have issues when I
how
post.
much it's dropped in value since he bought it. It's ridiculous.
I have issues posting a lot when I try to post on Twitter, and it just won't let it go through. And I'm like, does he somehow know that I talk shit about him on a podcast every so often? Like, I always wonder.
I hope he's a listener. I mean,
Probably.
I hope he listens to us or to your. I hope he listens to everyone's podcast.
Yeah.
Don't make him give him half a star or something.
Hey, he can listen to my podcast and talk about it on Twitter and be like how terrible they talk shit about me. Hey, you know what? I'll take it. I would get so many downloads after that. It'd be great. So, all right. And if you enjoyed this podcast, there's over 550 episodes of this podcast. You can find everything that we do on Podbean. We do movies, comics, TV shows, games, whatever the hell people convince me to talk about. So you can go find all that on there. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. You'll see a link in the show notes to our Patreon. For a little $1, you can vote in our Patreon. We also have a Discord. Please join our Discord and chat with us. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Helena Hath Fury. You'll see a link to all her stuff in the link tree down below. She's TikTok famous. She's on Twitch now, so go follow her there. Also want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MCU movies with me. You can follow him. He started his own podcast, Gamer Looks at 40, and check out Nomads of Fantasy, a friend of the show. And I And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Audio only, but we are on YouTube also. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.
Later.